out about the place to be with yourself. Let me make that change.
But this movie's not about...
I'm waiting for the Michael Jackson biopic.
Oh, that'll be the fucking greatest movie.
All right, let's talk about Queen.
Let's talk about Freddie Mercury now.
Hey.
And Freddie Mercury.
Hi.
Hi.
We're not going to see the Michael Jackson biopic, but we are going to go see Queen's Bohemian Rhapsody starring Rami Malek. Just as a precursor to all this, we did actually make a video talking about our expectations and about all the promotional material. So if you want to see that, I'll put it on the little eye
no,
thingy.
put it here. Put it
I
right
can't
there.
anymore. They don't let you annotate.
Okay,
So it'll be up in the corner. What are everybody's expectations?
It's sad. I was more excited for it, but now the more I hear about it, which is why the internet sucks sometimes, you know, people saying that it's not going to be that good, you know, I don't know. I'm excited, but I'm just now a little bit more apprehensive. I expect there to be a lot of music. I expect there to be a lot of Queen. I expect there to be a lot about the band. I don't expect it to be very Freddie-centric. I think that the trailers were skewed to be a lot of Freddie Mercury, and I don't think the movie's going to be as much about him. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but that's just my expectation.
I was not excited about this movie at all until I saw that trailer. And everything that people are saying about the movie right now are basically what I expected just from hearing about what a mess it was, that Bryan Singer basically had to be kicked off, that Sacha Baron Cohen wasn't going to be in there, that they were rewriting the movie, and that the band was trying to write part of the movie. Just none of it seemed to fit into making a good movie, but that trailer was a really solid piece of promotional material, so that got me excited, and I'll see anything with Queen in it because it's just great music.
I'm pretty excited. I mean, it's bittersweet for me as well as Britney making it a hard R picture. It would have made it, I think, much better. Sacha Baron Cohen, there was a lot of disagreements, and he wound up leaving the role. And as much as I may potentially like this movie, I still think the Sacha Baron Cohen one that could have been will always probably be better.
I don't know how you can make a movie about a rock band and have it be PG-13.
Yeah.
Whose lead singer died of AIDS.
Yeah.
I mean, people are kind of just saying, oh, it's kind of like a studio film, which I could be fine with that. It's about what I'm expecting, and that could be fun too.
I'm anticipating there being a lot of, you know, singing along and, you know, good times. I just hope that it shows just as many bad times as it does good times.
I mean, at the worst, we get to listen to Queen.
I want it to be realistic. That's what I want. I don't want it to be this whole, oh, look at how amazing we all are all the time.
Best I can hope for is something along the lines of Straight Outta Compton. When you were having a good time, you were having a great fucking time.
Right.
It was just the downs were you know, downers. But then they brought you back up with something else. So I hope there's a good balance.
I think that's probably what it's going to end up being. You know, I don't know enough, too much about Queen in the past, so I won't really be able to tell what's true or not. So hopefully they're not really, spreading too much, fake facts around, you know?
Right. So I guess we'll see.
We'll see how it all goes. How the band played on.
Except that they didn't. That's
All right,
such a
that's
lie.
fine. Goodbye. And we're back.
All right.
Sorry.
I think everybody here feels a certain kind of way about the movie.
And I think we all kind of feel a little differently.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be some varying opinions here.
I know that I feel very strongly in one way, so I'll let you guys go first.
Yeah, it's not a perfect movie, but with that being said, I still enjoyed myself. Times where I found myself thoroughly enjoying myself was all during the music scenes. I feel like when it wasn't a music scene, I was getting bored sometimes. Sometimes I feel like they were just trying to tell a story that didn't really matter that much. But overall, I very much did enjoy this movie, and I think seeing it in IMAX definitely helped the movie-going experience.
I feel a little indifferent. I'm a little disappointed, but then I kind of also expected to be disappointed, so it's very odd. I'm disappointed, but I'm also content with how it came out because I kind of figured it would be that way. I knew going into it that we weren't going to get the real story. So this is really almost in my opinion, almost like a fairy tale of Queen in a way. Yes, I'm sure all of these wonderful things did happen for Queen. They are one of the greatest, if not the greatest rock band of all time. Obviously, things had to work out for them in order to get to be that way. However, I do feel like a lot of the storytelling was ingenuine in a way, and it was a little staged and very much like a dramatization of what actually went on, and a dramatization in the way that, like, it wasn't over dramatic, it was actually like under dramatic. It was too much worked out well. Yeah, it was too clean, too nice. I thought Rami Malek did a really great job as Freddie. I definitely didn't think Freddie was as odd as they made him out to be. I'm not saying that that's true or false, I don't know, but that wasn't my perception of him. That was interesting. I enjoyed learning about the band itself, but in terms of the overall tone and the way the movie was made and like what they were trying to get across, it was a little lackluster and a little fake. Very much a Hollywood made movie.
I hate this movie. I fucking hate it.
Oop, there's that one F.
Oh, yeah,
PG-13.
This is so botched. It's like missed its mark so heavily. There are a lot of cool scenes in it that I think belong in a better movie. Most of the pieces that I really enjoy are just Queen singing. Yeah. And if that's what it's going to be, I don't need to watch Rami Malek do that. I can watch video of Freddie Mercury do it for real. And I think that's the biggest issue. On top of that, not only the storytelling, but the writing is awful.
Questionable at best.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like music video writing. Most of the dialogue in this movie feels like it was written by Brian May, but not in a way that like he sat down and wrote it down. I feel like they asked him a question like, "Oh, how did you meet your manager?" And then whatever Brian May said, they transcribed onto a piece of paper instead of sitting down and thinking, "Oh, how do people talk?" I feel like I'd rather watch a documentary with them just talking about the band at this point.
It did feel very much to me like we were reading an expose, I guess you could say. We were reading an interview with the band, and all the dialogue was just the answers that they were giving.
And it's not even that I doubt that that's how they feel or that that's genuine. It's that I doubt that that could have been said at the time. Everybody's got a smart answer for everything and not in a way that's fun or engaging. My other biggest issue is that Freddie really annoyed me in this movie. I went in wanting to see it, and I think that Rami Malek did a fucking fantastic job, but it's written to where when he's not on stage, you're right, he's an asshole.
Yeah.
And he's
They really
not...
painted him in a very dark picture because the band was like, oh, well, he had his problems.
Right.
And we're better than that.
And that's fine if he had his problems, but everybody has their problems. And most people who have issues, you don't hate 100% of the time that you see them.
But if you were ever to get Freddie Mercury's account of these interactions, I'm so curious to see how he would have felt about them as opposed to what's being portrayed.
The issue with all of that is that when you make Freddie out to be an asshole, and if that's the movie you want to make, more power to you, do that, whatever. But then you can't ask me to feel bad for him at the end of the movie. You can't have him be annoying and an asshole and, self-destructive and full of himself. You don't get to do that and then turn around and go, "Oh, but don't you feel bad?"
Yeah, he had AIDS, guys.
The portrayal of Freddie in this movie was very much like as if somebody told you their one-sided perspective about how he was and how he acted and what he was doing at these times. And it's like, well, I'm sure it wasn't as obnoxious, as you're making it out to be. It's very odd, like people wouldn't do that, it just wouldn't come out that way if it were real.
When you get to the end of the movie, I feel bad because I feel like Freddie Mercury was a real person, like a well-rounded person, because of my outside knowledge.
Yeah.
And not because of who the character that I've been watching for 2 hours is.
They definitely tried to make this movie for somebody that maybe if you didn't know much about Queen, you would come away knowing things. It comes off like dumb to your viewers as well. Like there were plenty of times, like even just going back to when he was like on the piano singing to himself and he said, "Happy birthday, Freddie Mercury," and his sister was like, Mercury? Almost as if I was reading his Wikipedia page.
Right.
Like,
It goes without saying.
It was written by
Yeah.
a 12-year-old, yeah.
You didn't need all
Yeah.
of that pointless exposition.
it just
for
was
a lot of
was
things.
silly. Freddie was born, Farouk, I don't remember his last name is.
Yeah, I was fine with the Freddy part when he first said he wants
Right.
to be called by Freddy, and his parents are that's fine. But
Because that felt real. Like
yeah,
a
Right.
and then they
conversation.
did
Exactly.
it again, and
Right.
that was a little much. Yeah.
Then there are scenes that are great. I love the scene where he
Bryan
breaks up
Singer
with his
scenes.
girlfriend. The scenes that were directed by a person and not a computer.
Bryan Singer scenes.
Right.
That whole scene where he's talking to Paul in the rain, and it was like shot on Paul, shot on Freddie, shot
Yep.
on Paul,
Like
shot
a soap
on Freddie.
opera.
Not even like a soap opera, like you said before, like a fucking music video.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
This is supposed to be a really emotionally charged scene where he's getting back his life.
Yeah.
You know, he's ridding himself of the people who are doing him wrong. He's trying to, make better for himself. And it's like I can't help but sit here and almost fucking laugh at it. Like it was so
Right.
ridiculous.
Honestly, at certain points, I laughed
I
and
know,
it
I
was
felt you
totally
laughing.
inappropriate. But like, there's a scene where like they're trying to tell you he has AIDS, but they don't want to say he has
don't wanna
AIDS
say it,
because
yeah.
they want a doctor to say it later. So instead, they play some Sarah McLachlan music.
McLaughlin.
No, McLaughlin. And you see old people with AIDS on the TV, and then you see Freddie watching it sadly. And there's just something about it that feels like it was written by a cartoon character for a cartoon, rather than, real people.
I would have been okay with it had they not gone and then eventually had been like, oh, he has AIDS.
Right.
I would have been fine if they just alluded to it and they didn't outright say it.
Right, because everybody knows.
But they did both. Again, they alluded to it in, nuance, and then they were like, oh yeah, no, he's got AIDS, guys.
I think Mary, the character of Mary, and her whole arc was probably my favorite part of the whole
Yeah,
movie.
I agree.
Her story felt more genuine and more real than whatever else was going on. And it was very sad, very heartbreaking, because you love somebody and you want to be with them, but you know that, like, you can't. And it's, I appreciated that whole story.
The movie does two things, and they're both totally ingenuine, and it uses real life outside knowledge to tell its story rather than do it itself. It really tries to trick you into feeling things, which is fine if you can pull it off. With the Live Aid scene, because I hated this movie up until the last 20 minutes, and then they give you what you want to see, and it's almost like I'm leaving the theater amped up, but I also know I didn't like this movie at all.
The only other scene that I really felt was done very well was when they're in the country house and they're recording Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh my god, I was going to talk about that too. When
Yeah.
he's
Honestly, all the
screaming.
recordings-
Yeah,
Oh, man,
but
that was
mostly
cool.
that one, just
Yeah.
because you felt such a connection. That's the name of the movie. You wanted to see them recording that. I enjoyed every bit of
Every
that.
piece
I
of
wish
that.
that more of the movie were like that. It was a fun scene. It not only was it informative, but it wasn't like in your face, like this is how we did this. It was
Right.
like, no, they're just like doing shit, and
These
it's just
guys-
like you're getting it, you're understanding it. And I wish more of that scene were not in the trailer, because I think I really would have liked it a lot more had I not seen like half of it already.
That's also the only scene where you really feel the chemistry with the band, I
Right.
think.
Yeah, no, the scenes where all of them are recording music, obviously the Bohemian is the one where it works the most. Just kind of seeing them kind of just forget about it and then be like, you know what, let's just make good music. It's about the music. I enjoyed that, because I hope that's factual. They state early in the movie that they're just four different guys that shouldn't get along together, but it works.
Right.
And I would have liked to see more of that, but it is there. It's in there, but it's not as much as I
Right.
feel it should have been.
Just not enough. And not enough to sell me on that this is how this band was.
Right.
Because I wanted to see them be friends. And I almost I hate to go to Straight Outta Compton twice, but if you want to talk about a movie that was written by a director and a band, about a really iconic band, we want to show the band in the best light possible, and we want this to be, but is going along facts, that's how you do it. Because if you're not going to show me what really happened, you may as well have some fun with me. Where Straight Outta Compton, they give you such great highs, and you're having so much fun with the movie that you forget that, oh, well, this isn't really what they were like, and this isn't how it went. And I don't think that this movie did that for me. I think there's just some component is missing.
There was quite a number of montage scenes over music where I feel like that could have been the perfect time for there to be fun. I'm gonna talk about one of my favorite movies here, and That Thing You Do. When they are touring, and the montage when they are touring, you see clips of them having fun together.
Right.
I was even going to mention Rockstar. When Rockstar toured.
Yeah, you don't just see them performing. You see them in all these different places. You see all the things that they do together while not just being there for a concert.
Right.
Yeah, it was nice for the whole montage where they're all different members of the band are saying, thank you, Cleveland, thank you, Houston, thank you, New York. But, we knew they were going to do that.
Right, you didn't need to explain it to me twice.
You didn't need to give context to all the cities they were going to. Throw in a scene there where, they're not performing, where they're just, on the road.
First of all, there were so many scenes that, led you to believe that he was gay, but you never actually saw anything. It was just, him looking at dudes looking at him.
And that's the movie relying on outside information because it knows you're waiting for the jump for him to be gay. So instead of giving you a logical progression of things, it tells you, nope, he's gay now.
Oh, we're tiptoeing around it, tiptoe. But everything up until that point was a tiptoe. Yeah. And then this was as if he jumped to the bottom of a 50-foot pool. And it's all of a sudden I'm down here. And I'm like, what the fuck? How'd I get down here?
I feel like that kind of goes along with what we said previously about how, with the AIDS thing, they don't talk about it. They show it to you. You kind of start thinking about it. You're like, oh, okay, maybe he has AIDS. Oh, maybe he's gay. And then they're just like, oh, yeah, no, he has AIDS. And yeah, no, he is gay.
Like you said, don't give me nuance and then give me blatant fact.
Tell you, yeah.
Just one or the other,
If you want to rely so heavily on information from outside, then do that.
Yeah.
And nuance it. And don't say it because everybody fucking knows. And everybody knows because you've been fucking cock teasing us for an hour and a half.
Even the scene where he breaks up with his girlfriend, as much as that's probably one of the better scenes of the movie, even at that point in time, he says, oh, I'm bisexual. And she goes, no, you're gay. It's obviously.
Well,
and they have to turn it into a Lifetime movie with her turning, but it's not even your fault.
Right. That's more of what I have the issue with.
That could have how it's been maybe.
I understand that that's probably really to some effect what happened, but I'm just saying I don't think that it happened so nicely and cut and dry in case you're fucking stupid.
Live Aid.
Oh my god.
Amazing.
Yeah. What the whole fucking movie should have been.
Seeing it in IMAX made it really, really that much better.
Yeah.
I wanted to see the full set and we were so close.
Yeah.
You're so close to the full set.
I wanted to see the whole thing too. I wanted the whole movie to be the fucking set.
I'm going to give this movie a C+. It could have been a lot better. And the most unfortunate thing is we're probably not going to get another Queen movie. I do not think that it was an accurate portrayal. I really, like I said earlier, felt like it was a fairy tale fantasy version of what the band really went through. The misrepresentation, I feel, is the most disappointing part of the movie. They are still the greatest rock band to ever be. And, that doesn't come as easily as they made it seem in the movie. And I think that was probably one of the worst parts. But that's enough of the negative. The positives of this, I did find it humorous at times. I was actually kind of laughing. When they were having fun, I was having fun, but they just weren't having enough fun. I thought Rami Malek's interpretation of Freddie was interesting. I thought that he was very committed to the role, but I think that the light that they painted Freddie in was skewed as well. I did enjoy the music, but as Oliver said, if I wanted to listen to the music, I'd just listen to the music and I'd go watch their performances. I think the part I probably enjoyed one of the most was when they played Don't Stop Me Now at the end and they played the actual footage of them doing it. And it's like that I thought was awesome. So for those reasons, I'm going to go with the C+.
Before I give my grade, it comes with stipulations. Everything, I agree with pretty much a lot of what you both are saying. I'm always going to want Freddie Mercury biopic. I'm going to want Sacha Baron Cohen. I'm going to want all these things that could have been. But for this rating, I kind of separate from that. And it's based off of what I expected to actually end up happening with this movie. I expected cookie cutter. I expected cut and dry. I expected feel good. I knew I wasn't going to get the movie I wanted. So it allowed me to enjoy it more. So I'm going to give it a B+. And the B+ is honestly because of that Live Aid scene. That really boosts it a lot. You got 2 whole grades for it, and honestly, it's probably even more than 2 whole grades for me because of that scene. It has its faults, it has its problems. So it was just like this, up and down and up and down, and I didn't want that. But again, the first act was good for me, and then Live Aid just sold it.
I'm gonna give it
most likely
a D-.
Wow.
The biggest thing is that it's missed potential because there's an interesting story here. And there's even people who know that they're telling an interesting story. It's just that they don't quite know how to do that. And even my highlights of the movie, because I was going to actually rate it higher and say it was because I loved the music. But I can just listen to the real music and watch real performances. I don't need this movie. But what saves it from an F- is the Live Aid scene. So there you go, all across the board. Somebody who liked it, somebody who hated it, and somebody who was indifferent.
All right, guys. Final thoughts.
Hopefully, people know Queen now, seeing this movie. They listen to Queen, they like the music they hear, and they dive a little deeper. Hopefully, at the end of the day, it does that. If it does that, then I call the movie a success. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Anyway,
All right.
we're done with this.
All right.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night.